Plock, the second capital of Poland. The city is 100 kilometers away from the current one. A city in the area of which the Vistula River, already described by the Romans, is indeed as wide as the sea, is a forgotten city that, although renovated, somehow cannot attract tourists from outside Poland, although its museum has the most valuable artifacts from the history of the country. The capital was moved here from Gniezno during the reign of Władysław Herman, after the overthrow of his brother Bolesław the Bold, although this one resided in Krakow during his reign. The foundation of this city is indeed a perfect story for a movie. A story about a family from hell, power, and fall, and new research only supports the darkest theories. Cathedral Island, where we can easily leave the car and go on foot. An abbey was built in the former royal castle during the feudal fragmentation of Poland. Today, it is a diocesan museum. The most valuable specimens are the medieval Psalter and the Plock Bible. There is a collection of paintings by artists such as Blake, Bocciarelli, and Carracci. However, the most valuable treasure is undoubtedly the Romanesque Epernay and the reliquary of Saint Sigismund. This man, like King Arthur, lived to see numerous poems and operas. The head of this masterpiece of medieval art is adorned with the ducal crown of Conrad of Masovia. It is a valuable monument not only because not many Romanesque art objects have been preserved, but also because it is the only preserved ducal crown in Poland, from medieval times as well. It is also worth paying attention to the Son of Plock, which does not equal the legendary Son of Prague, but is also set with almost 100 diamonds, or to a monstrance with a pelican feeding his children from his heart. This belief was also mentioned by Aidan Turner while he was playing Leonardo da Vinci. Today we know that this pelican's head movement has nothing to do with sharing their heart and that the food is simply stored in a huge will, but pelicans were therefore considered a model of parenting and a symbol of devotion until the end of the Renaissance. In this way, reference was made to the sacrifice of Christ. The Conrad of Masovia pater and the calyx are also excellent examples of Romanesque art. Conrad is primarily remembered as the one who brought the Teutonic Knights, paving the way for them to create a dangerous state. However, the first prince to do so was Henry the Bearded, and Conrad, alone in the fight against Pomeranians, the Balts, and Lithuanians, had no other choice if he wanted to stop the notoriously cruel robbers of his district. So at that time there was no indication that the order might be planning something like that in the feudal fragmentation of Poland, although their creation of Transylvania should give both gentlemen food for thought. But more about him is in the note about Torin. He has a great personality for the movie, and what's so funny is that his prophecy came true because his descendant united the country. Conrad of Masovia was one of the first rulers to sponsor the first expedition to the Kagan. Benedict the Pole and William of Rubruck. This expedition reached the Kagan many years before Marco Polo, although few remember about it. It is believed that the head decorating the reliquary of Saint Sigismund belonged to Conrad of Masovia. It is one of the monuments of Romanesque art on a global scale, because there is little left from this era. The crown was supposed to be a gift for the Kagan. In the cathedral, it is worth paying attention to the door. After those from Gniezno, it is the only monument of this type in Poland. Unfortunately, there is only a copy in Poland, but those in Gniezno are original. The doors popularly called by Poles Plock doors, in book nomenclature are known as Magdeburg doors or Novgorod-Magdeburg doors. Made of bronze, they show 26 panels from the history of the Old and New Testaments, and they served as the Bible for the poor. Contrary to the Poles' claims, the Russians did not take them to Russia. The door was lost during the invasion of Poland by the Lithuanian king Mindaugas, later found a place in St. Sofia in Novgorod, when Lithuania became part of Russia. They make us realize that Romanesque was not such an inept period in art. Both doors came today, if we could call them that, from the same factory. There is a royal crypt next to the door, in which the last rulers from before the feudal fragmentation of Poland were buried, as well as all the princes of Masovia who claimed the throne during the reign of King Jogaila. It is worth paying attention to the rare representation of the Seraphins in Latin churches. They are the most powerful celestial beings and the ones who are closest to God, as well as the Green Chapel, where we can see a commemorative plaque of the last king of Poland. His brother was the Bishop of Plock and was buried here. The cathedral is a mix of Romanesque and Gothic, but the styles are easy to distinguish here. In the Masovian Museum, we will see a portrait of Mirima, the legendary daughter of Suleiman Magnificent and Harem Sultan, made famous by the Magnificent Century series. There is a moving clock on the town hall tower. The building is impressive and was designed by the Italian architect Domenico Merlini. At 12 and 18 o'clock, moving figures emerge. Vladislaus Herman is the rightful heir to his son Boleslaus' throne, but did he really do it? Now a little bit should be told about the history of the Bloody Dynasty. There is still the zoo. Old, but due to its location it has a large animal population. Marta lives here. A female alligator that was probably hatched in 1930. The year is unknown, in the now defunct Reptile Jungle Zoo in the United States. She has appeared in several films. She lived with a male Pedro for a short time, but she turned out to be a despot. She perceives the world a little differently. Maybe she was brought up by people, because she loves them, but not the representatives of her species. She is one of the longest-lived reptiles of its type in the world and one of the 2 longest-lived crocodile families in Europe. This year, Marta will be 92, if she is not older. Marta is competing for the title of oldest representative of the crocodile family with Muha, who is from Belgrade. On the height, Turin and Plock, the Vistula River reaches its greatest width. Ships from the Baltic Sea used to arrive here. Today, what was possible in the times of the Vikings and even in the era of classicism is unrealistic. The bottom had not been cleaned for years. Plock also has its own refinery. Walking along the boulevard, we can see benches with statues of famous figures from Plock. It is worth paying attention to the first prime minister after the fall of socialism.